Hello everybody. I hope everybody's doing well today. Today we're going to be doing a fun little project. It is what you're going to need first before I go through what we're doing. What you're going to need first is you're going to need a hole punch. You will need something to poke a hole, something sharp to poke a hole. You're going to need a pair of scissors. You will need a pair of scissors. You're going to need a straw. Not a paper straw. You want a regular straw. You're going to need, hold on, I'm trying to pull up my list here. If I can find it. Where's my list? Okay, I'm not updating. I don't know what's going on. Okay, you're going to need paint, like acrylic paint, a Sharpie marker. You'll also need, I said 2 plastic bottles just in case, but I have the one. Also, you're going to need paper towels, a table covering. You're going to need some hot glue, some string. You'll need string, and is that it? I can't pull up my list, so I'm having a problem. Okay, here we go. Okay, now, start off, to let y'all know what we're doing, we are making these cute little hummingbird feeders. This is what we're going to do today. You have to kind of work with it a little bit so it doesn't leak out on you, but this is what we're doing. Homemade hummingbird feeders, all right? So to start off, the first thing you want to do is you want to take your bottle, okay, and you want to cut off your plastic piece. So you're going to take your scissors and cut the plastic off. Try not to cut through the bottle. You don't want to do that. Okay. I always keep a little plastic bag, trash bag here, so I tape it to the side of my table so I have something to put my trash in. Keep my table clean. However, my table looks like a mess today right now. All right, and then you want to wipe it off, clean it out. So you can use, oh wait, you don't need to wipe it off. Sorry, take that back. I'm thinking of another one. Next thing you want to do is you want to take your bottle and you're going to poke a hole. You could leave this on. Take your, whatever item you have to poke a hole. Be really careful you don't hurt yourself. And you're just going to poke the hole. You could possibly maybe use a hole punch. I didn't try the hole punch. I have this thing called an awl, which is a leather working tool, and so I just use that. And then once I have the hole punch, then I go back in with the scissors. Oh, I got so much stuff on my table, it's driving me crazy. Then I go back with my scissors, and you want to kind of twist it, right? And that makes the hole bigger. And then as you do that, you want to take your straw ever so often. Now I have a bendy straw, works the best. You want to take your straw and just kind of push it in there to see if it's going to fit in without crunching it up, and it's not yet, so I still want to work with it. So get in there again and do it again. You don't try not to get it too terribly big, but enough that it's going to fit in there. Okay, there. Now that fits in there. Now their next step is, once you've got that done, you want to poke it in there and figure out, okay, take the cap off, poke it in there again, figure out about how long you want the straw. On this one, I didn't do it very long because you want to use as much of the stuff in there as possible, right? So you want to cut off quite a bit. So I'm going to cut mine about right to here, okay? About right there. Now, on the description of this video, I have posted a description of what you're going to need for the food for the hummingbirds. And it's a whole little recipe that's on this description of this video as well. Okay, now once you have that done, you're going to take your cap and you're going to put it back on the bottle, all right? Now, let me just say, if you don't have a bendy straw and all you have is a straight straw, then my suggestion would be to not put the hole in the cap. I would say poke a hole in the side of the bottle. That way the straw could stick up like that, okay? So if you're using a straight straw, I have this kind of straw, so that's what I'm using. All right, now once you have your hole poked and your straw cut, then you're going to take your hot glue that you plugged in at the beginning of this video, and you're going to just put some hot glue. You don't want to put a whole lot at once because you don't want to melt your straw, because it will melt your straw if you're not careful. Now, if you're lucky and you have a thicker straw, which I don't, I have this thinner straw, then you could probably work with it a little quicker than what I can. I don't want my straw to melt, so. And then I just kind of try to cool it off a little bit. I like the one with the bendy because, you know, I have actually seen hummingbird feeders that you can buy that have little glass or metal straws in them, and they are bent like this, right? I have seen that before. So for those of you just joining, we are making these homemade hummingbird feeders. Now, it's leaking right now, but after you flip it up for a little while, it stops, and then the water just kind of sits there. It probably will leak out a little bit, but if you're outside anyway, don't matter, right? So I got this idea because my mom, I had one day had a little hummingbird next to my window here, and my mom had remembered that she had a hummingbird feeder in her garage. So she went to her garage, found a hummingbird feeder, and then she put it on her porch. She made the recipe for it, and now just about every day she tells me, oh my gosh, there's a hummingbird. And so I thought, you know what, that'd be really cool. My mom gets such joy out of the little hummingbirds coming that I figured, you know, all of you, if you didn't want to go to a store, you could make one out of the items you have. And who needs to go buy one when you could just make it, right? So this is what we're doing. So we're making one. So here we go. So now I have put the glue onto the straw, and it's getting pretty dry there. You don't want to touch it. You want it to seal, because this is basically sealing that hole so water doesn't leak out. Thank you. So water doesn't leak out where the straw's at, right? Okay, so then once you have your little straw done, the next step is to take that second water bottle I was telling you about. And, oh, also remember, I said we're going to need acrylic paint. So with that, you're going to need water and brushes and a paint rag so that you don't get it everywhere. Make sure you cover your table so your table doesn't, so it's protected. You know what? I don't think I need a hole. Yes, I do need a hole punch. I take that back. Okay, so now the second water bottle that you have, you're going to cut it like, this is one that I already had that I was working with earlier. So you're just going to cut the water bottle, and you're going to use the side of this for a little flower, because hummingbirds are attracted to flowers, right? And so they'll follow around flowers. So the best thing to do is to take this lid. I'm going to zoom up a little bit so you can see what's going on here. Hold on. Oh, what's going on? Okay. See that? All right, yeah. Okay, so then you're going to take this piece that you cut out from that bottle, and you're just going to cut it into a circle, basically. Try to. Just try to work with it. It's kind of difficult to cut it, but you'll get it. All right. Then once you got that, then cut it into a circle, as big or as small as you want. That's up to you. Try to cut it into one anyway. I'm going to make this one a little bigger. The last one I made was smaller. So I'm going to do this one a little bigger. And this, now the next step you're going to do is you're going to take your markers or your, whatever you have, either your markers or your paint, and we're going to paint it like a flower. But the first things first, you want to take your hole punch, and you want to punch a hole right in the middle, okay? And the reason we're doing this is because you're going to fit it onto the straw, okay? So that's the next step. So punch a hole right in the middle of that piece of plastic that you just cut, okay? Now, if you have extra more bottles, which I don't, or I would have done, I mean, I could maybe do a small one, but just do a bunch of these little flowers and glue them all over the bottle. That would be cute. But anyway, okay, so I cut that out, and then I want to, you know, you're going to take your scissors again, and you're going to kind of core out the middle a little bit, because you want it to fit onto your straw. So same thing we did with this one, you know, you're just going to core it out and then you're going to try to put it on and it still doesn't fit yet. So just keep going until you can get it to where it'll fit on that straw, right? There, that looks like that almost fits on there. Yeah, that fits on there. Okay, and then so the deal is, so now I pull out the straw a little bit and then you can put it on there, right? Okay, so the next step is we're going to paint, take it back off, and we're going to paint this to make it look like a flower, all right? Let me throw this stuff away here, in my way. And I'm going to move this because I'm done with the hole punch now. Now, if you're going to do more of these flowers, you don't need to punch another hole in it because this was just for the straw. If you're going to do more flowers to stick on it, then you just need to paint them or whatever. But I'm not doing any more. We're going to decorate it different. Okay, so then I'm going to take my paintbrush and I'm going to start painting this. Now, the way I did this one was I just left it a circle and then made it look like flowers because you can't even tell. You can't even really tell that it hasn't been cut unless you get real close to it. And I don't think the birds are going to care anyway, so it's whatever. All right, so you want to paint that, so I'm going to take the paint here and I'm going to put a little bit of paint. Now with this one I had really bright colors. My mom says that when she was giving me advice on this project, she was telling me that you need to have a lot of red on your feeder because the hummingbirds apparently are attracted to red, like it's the color they're attracted to. So you want to put a lot of red, and she was also telling me that some people, like I told you I had that recipe that's in the description of this video. So she was telling me that some people put red food coloring in the recipe in the water to attract them, but she doesn't do that because she's afraid. She said she's afraid that it might hurt the birds, which I don't think it would. Who knows, you know, but she's just being cautious. But people eat it, so I imagine it'd be okay, but you never know. So anyway, I'm going to take a brush and I'm going to paint. You know, Mom's always trying to be cautious with the birds. You got to be careful with them. Okay, so she said paint more red than anything else. So I'm going to just start painting the circle red with the acrylic paint, or you can use marker also. You could use the marker. If you have Sharpie markers, like in the description, you could use that also. So, but I'm going to paint these this time. I didn't want to get out my Sharpie, my other markers. The one that I did for this one was an alcohol marker, so you could use that too if you don't have Sharpies, but you have alcohol markers, because they stick to the plastic. I don't know how well the acrylic would stay on the plastic. I guess I'll find out because I am going to put this outside in my yard because I love hummingbirds also. All right, and then once you have that painted, then you want to do a yellow in the middle of it. So you want to put yellow in the middle. So I have this really super bright yellow that I like to use, and I don't need a whole lot of it because the yellow is very little middle. So then the yellow, okay, then once you have that done, then the next step is to put it on your straw, right here, like this. So then you're just going to push that on the straw. You might have to be careful if you're painting that you don't get paint all over you. And you might have to clean the straw off as well. Okay. So I got some of my straw. Now, once you have that on there, yeah, you could just leave it on there, but I don't want it to take a chance of falling off in the wind or something. So I'm going to put a dab of hot glue right on the cap here. Don't get it where you screw it on because that's how you fill your water up, right? So right on the cap right here on the edge, I'm going to put just a little dot of hot glue, and then that way I could push the flowery thing onto it and it's not going to come off in the wind or whatever. Just glue it on there. So that's how mine looks. So it looks like a little flower that they're getting their nectar out of. Okay, and then the next step, if you want, you could draw with black around it once it's dry to make it look more flowery. That's up to you. Well, the next step is to draw dots or decoration all over the bottle. Paint decoration or dots all over the bottle. Make sure there's more red than anything my mom says. It's kind of like my mom is doing this tutorial today. Okay, so just paint dots or whatever decoration you want on it. Just remember to do a lot of it because that's what they're attracted to is the red. All over. Doesn't have to be too uniform. It's okay. You can add different colors to it too, but mainly red. You want mainly red. So a little, I'm going to put some little different, some bright, vibrant colors on it too, but more red than anything. I did notice that my honeysuckle that they come to is yellow, so the flower itself is yellow, so they probably like that too. Okay. Paint it all nice and pretty, polka dotted, squares, whatever you want. It's up to you. All right, then once I have a lot of red on there, then I'm going to go back and I'm going to put a few other little colors on there just because I want it to look a little different. Right now it kind of looks like a ladybug. Okay. All right, and then my other colors. So once you brush out in your water cup, and then I'm going to add some of this pretty bright, like fluorescent red color. It's extremely bright. Okay. And that's the next one. I think I'm just going to do some little stripes or something on it, or just some little lines. That's pretty bright. I'm sure that would probably attract them too. Thanks, Aunt Carol. I have family watching me today. My Aunt Carol and my mom is watching. Say hello, Mom. And I also have my cousins watching. And, all right, here we go. So now I've decorated with little fluorescent red colors as well. And then, okay, so now that I have that done, the next step is the string. Well, no, you know what? I want to add some pink. I'm all over the place. I like pink too, so I'm going to add just a little bit of pink. And this is fluorescent pink, and it's by Liquitex Basics Acrylic. This is one of my favorite colors ever. I paint a lot of abstracts along with a whole bunch of other stuff, but I do a lot of abstracty stuff too, and I use this pink a lot in it because it's so pretty. If you've ever watched any of the other videos, you know that I love pink a lot. All right, okay, now there's some colors. All right, mainly red with a little bit of pink and some brighter reds. Okay, so here we go. This is my hummingbird feeder that I made, and the next step is to add the string to it. So that usually dries pretty quickly, but all right, I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you all can see what I'm doing here. All right, so the next step is to take your string. Okay, here, and cut a bunch of it off. You can cut it off if you don't want it that long. Okay, and now you're going to take your string, and you are going to, let me remember how I did it. Okay, then you're going to take your string here. You want, how did I do that? Okay. So take a piece of string, you want it pretty long, cut it in half. Sorry, I had to sense what I was doing there for a second. But cut it in half, and then you're going to take it. Your water bottle, you don't get that all over you because my paint is still wet. So you're going to take your string, okay, so my water bottle has these little ridges on it. See the ridges? And that works really well if you have a water bottle that has ridges, because then the string won't slide and it'll just stick to it. So the next step is to take your string and you want to tie it onto your water bottle more towards the top. Make sure it's even when you're doing it, right? So the way I like to do it is to take it like this. Here. And then just double knot it. I believe that's called a square knot. So do it tight. So when you pull it tight on there. Pull it tight. And then do it again. There's one. Right? Did I do that right? Yes. Okay. And then the other side, you're gonna tie it on the other side. You're gonna have your strings hanging over here, right? So this side, and then you want your strings hanging over on the other side. So then you're gonna go down 1 or 2 lines on your bottle if you have lines, and you're going to tie it on the opposite side. So that's what I'm doing. It is kind of difficult because your paint is wet. You just got to kind of work with it. It'd probably be easier if I just taped it to the table. Maybe. All right, even my string out. Okay, and then just tie it. I imagine you could probably move the string around, but if you're doing it really tight, it might be a little harder. So there we go. All right, now I'm going to move it just a little bit so it's even. There we go. Okay, okay. And tighten it really tight. Double knot. Double knot. Okay, now you have these 2 strings. Next step is to take your strings and pull it up really tight, okay? And you're going to knot it like this. You're going to take your strings and you're going to wrap it around your fingers, 2 fingers, and then you're going to pull those strings off your fingers. And then you're going to take these strings, all of them, and you're going to tuck them in the strings and pull them out. So then what happens is you pull this all out and it makes 1 knot all at once. It's a lot easier to work with, right? You want to get it tight, so make sure you pull that really tight down there. All right, so then that's what you have. See that? Now, this next step is, if your water bottle has these little things on it, the Aquafinas have these. They have like these little notches in the bottom of the water bottle, and if it has those, you want to pull your strings into those notches. That makes sense? So do one at a time. So what we're going to do is we're going to hot glue the string where that notch is at. So not a lot. You don't want a lot because it will melt your bottle. However, and you don't want it to melt your bottle, especially if you have really thin bottles, like these Aquafinas are really thin. So then once you get that, move on to the next. Try not to touch your nozzle on it because that would be bad. The nozzle definitely will burn your plastic if you're not careful. All right, this, and then move over. Try to cool it off a little bit. If you have a little fan or something, that would work too. And then move over to the other side. Do the same on the other side. So hot glue there, right here. All right, and then move it over to the other side and hot glue there. So you should have hot glue on all sides now. And this will help to keep your bottle even in the wind, kind of. Right? Okay. Now that you have that, the next, very last step, well, it's not the last step. The last step is to make your juice for it. But the next step is to take all these strings that you have and just tie them like I taught you to do the first one, and just pull it through and tie it. You're going to do a couple of those, okay? It's just so your strings aren't all over the place, you know? So tie it like that, and then do it again up at the top, And then up at the top is how you're going to hang it. So all those, knot that up, pull it out like that. And then you're going to take this scissors and you're going to cut the top so it's like, makes like a little tassel of sorts. Throw that away. If you have any little extra stringies, you can pull those off once it's dry. Because I have a lot of strings right now. Okay. Lots of them. Can't work when I got those strings on me. They feel like spider webs. Okay. And then once you have that done, then you can hang it on a tree or wherever, a little shepherd's hook if you have one of those, and you could just hang it up like that, which is what I'm going to do. Anyway, so this was the project today. Like I said, if you wanted to do the flowers and hot glue them to this with more plastic, you could do that too. That would be really cute. Tomorrow, I will be on again at 11 o'clock doing another fun project with you all. And I hope you had fun. If you want any information on City Museum, you can go to citymuseum.org. It has all of our ticket info. I do believe we are open 7 days a week now. And also follow us on Facebook. Hope you have a great day, and I hope your birds enjoy their food.